Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.
Well, with so many Australians spreading their wings and flying overseas, be it for holidays or working holidays, is that a good thing for our Australian economy? Well, next up in her debut, our brand new reporter, Fernanda Faria-Mizzen, investigates.
Latest research shows Aussies prefer to travel overseas. In the last year, they took 7.8 million international trips. Thailand grew by more than 23%. Philippines and Vietnam had similar growths according to the overseas arrivals and departures from Australia's Bureau of Statistics. So, what do you prefer, domestic or international trips?
I'd love to travel overseas. Interstate's alright, but it's short flights. I'd like to go on a long flight, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper overseas.
Overseas travel is just a wee bit different, more exciting.
Yes, outbound is certainly increasing, but if you look around Australia, and particularly in Western Australia, our intrastate visitation is going up at the same time. So locally, West Australians are holidaying home more than ever. We had a 16.3% rise in local West Australians visiting local regions of WA, and that's a really positive sign for us. So I think there's an even balance to strike between overseas holidays and holidaying at home.
I think booking tours in Perth can be a little bit difficult. It seems that it's such a popular place to be right now that things book up quickly. Accommodation can fill up quite quickly, so some people are at a loss there. That's when travelling to places like Bali or Thailand are more appealing. They're more affordable, and a lot of Australians do travel to places like this, I think, for that reason.
When you look at where the dollar is, and that's probably what's driven up the cost of certain accommodation and tours compared to obviously Bali and the likes of Southeast Asia. But I think when you actually look at the experience that you're getting, the fact that they are extraordinary and world-class and Australian exclusives, that sort of evens up the cost, and I think that's you know, that's the value of the holidays that you can have in Western Australia.
I think Australians should be travelling more domestically, especially people in Perth. There's a whole east coast that I think not many people from Perth have seen. So definitely, I think people from Perth should get on a plane and travel over the east coast and see some of the wonderful things over there.
For us, tourism really, you know, generates a lot of income for many small businesses, and if you look at the tourism industry at large, it's represented mainly by small and medium enterprises. So that's a good thing in terms of encouraging entrepreneurship in this state. I think also, yeah, it does generate development of towns in the regions, and also developing capacity and infrastructure in those towns as well.
I recommend that the international students I book for go to places like the Pinnacles, Margaret River, Rottnest Island, Cottesloe for beach volleyball. We go to Northbridge in the city for some nightlife, Fremantle, of course, for its wonderful markets and historical value. There's actually nowhere I don't recommend in Perth for students to go and visit, because there's so much to do and see here.
I'd rather be here and go interstate, and plus it keeps money in Australia.
Over 6 million people have chosen WA as a destination last year. With so many interesting places to go, traveling around Australia can be a good option. I'm Fernanda Mizin, reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, Well, next up, a story that will warm the cockles of your heart. A group of Australians making and donating wheelchairs overseas. Janae Tomlinson reports.
Surrounding me here is the next batch of wheelchairs that will soon be making their way to Vietnam. All thanks to the tireless efforts of Wheelchair for Kids and their hard-working volunteers.
Wheelchairs for Kids started back in 1998. The whole idea came from a Rotarian, Des Lawrence in Queensland. And he went to Fiji with his wife on holiday, and he saw these little kids on the ground, and he said, I'm going to try and do something about this. And he came back and he made a wheelchair using bike frames.
You don't see the end product, but you know it goes somewhere where it's going to be some use to some portable kid somewhere around the world.
What kind of people are you helping with these wheelchairs?
The children who receive the wheelchairs, they suffer from landmines, cerebral palsy. In Vietnam, there's a lot of children suffer from the Agent Orange fallout. Simply a chair on wheels makes a huge difference to the little kid and also to the family. These are all the countries that the chairs have gone to. So the numbers beside these are how many's gone away. And the number at the top here tells you how many, it's the total number that was sent away so far.
How did you come up with the design for these wheelchairs?
We heard that the World Health Organisation got in touch with people who are sending wheelchairs to developing countries, and we followed the guidelines of World Health, and we've got now a top wheelchair that's been checked out by World Health group in East Timor and also in the Solomon Islands, and they said, look, this wheelchair can fit any disabled child because the actual wheelchair grows with the child.
How are these wheelchairs different to wheelchairs, say, in Perth?
They're specifically designed for a child, and they're designed for very rough terrain. We have to test them with this testing equipment, which was designed by the University of WA to test this in accordance with ISO standards. That's 200,000 1-metre revolutions of these drums. The curve drop test means it's dropped 50 millimetres 6,000 times.
We've got 112 retired people here, they're all volunteers. We've now got 160 Rotary clubs around Australia who send in funds, which is wonderful. There's 262 schools involved in it. We never asked any of the schools, they just ring up and they say, how can we be involved?
So how did you find out about Wheelchairs for Kids?
I first saw the ad for Wheelchairs for Kids back in 1998, and I just grabbed the phone number from that little ad and rang them, and I've been here ever since.
How long have you been volunteering here for?
Oh, about 9 years.
Be about 6-7 years.
This is my third year, yeah.
Why did you choose Wheelchairs for Kids?
My son-in-law was in the army, so I knew a bit about what was going on overseas with mines and stuff like that. So I had a natural affinity for it, I suppose, yeah.
Why do you keep coming back? Why do you keep doing this?
Probably selfish reasons. It's fantastic from my point of view, but of course for the benefit of what it does, you know, where these chairs go.
When Ollie goes away and he tells us of people that receive our wheelchairs and how grateful they are, and some of the poor unfortunates that have been sort of crippled by war or by disease, and he comes back and tells us, it is heartwarming, yeah, it is. So we know that this product at the end of the line is being utilised to somebody's advantage. It makes us happy.
We send a lovely crochet or knitted rug away with every chair with a little teddy or a knitted toy. Everything's donated. You can see the toys in here. They're so beautifully done. We've even got a group in Melbourne that send over these lovely knitted toys. So we've sent away 21,000, like I told you, and so 21,000 chairs have one of these for the children.
I'm Janae Tomlinson, reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, next up, time to sit down and relax at the Court Wine Bar with John Hammond. And this week, it's the encore screening of his interview with art consultant Ainsley Gatt.
Good afternoon, Ainsley.
Hi John, how are you?
Ainsley, you've been involved in a lot of artistic fields, fashion, presenting, and more predominantly, I suppose, in the arts world.
Yes, yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you do in the arts world.
Well, I've been in the visual arts arena for 17 years now, and predominantly my work involves helping clients to build and develop their art collections.
It ensures that you get invites to lots of functions around town.
Oh, yeah, always.
No, but you're everywhere, ain't you?
Well, I'm not everywhere, but no, I have a very strong presence in the cultural industry because it's something I really support, and I think that being a part of the cultural industry, which I am, that's supporting the cultural industry outside of what I do is a really big and important thing to do.
So what's your most favourite art form?
People ask me this all the time, but I don't actually have a favourite art form, and I like art that comes from, you know, early Baroque to right through to ultra contemporary conceptual artwork, and it's something I always like something that's different to what people normally do. Are you a fan of Indigenous art? Yes, I am, but I see Indigenous art more as modern art than Aboriginal art, and I think that's the way that it's moving these days, yeah. Yeah,
it certainly strikes me as very modern when I look at it, having seen some pretty impressive pieces in the Melbourne Art Gallery. Yeah. But I must say, when it comes to contemporary art, I find it very hard to understand. Oh, and I love it, and I love the fact that a lot of contemporary art you can sit back and you can see it's, I always think in a way it's laughing at you because it can be so out there and so like you're thinking, well, that's not art, and they're going, well, yeah, it is because I've done it and it's different, and you know, and I just think, well, good on you for doing something that's, you know, a bit off the wall. Ainsley, during the course of your time as an art dealer and art curator, if you like, a lot of people would present art to you that you'd consider as just absolute trash. Oh,
yes, they do, because
How do you tell them?
Well, you don't. Basically my job is promoting the arts and promoting an artist, and you know, who knows, one day one of these artists who I recommend somewhere else may be a great artist in years to come, so I'm not going to go out and discourage them for what they're doing.
So have you ever dabbled yourself with a brush?
No, gosh, no. You need too much patience. And I'm one of these people that I like to do the best in what I can do, and I'm quite pedantic, and I just think if I was to be an artist, I would have started many, many, many years ago, because it would have been my whole vision and my whole drive. But I just think I'll leave that to the creative people.
Are you, being a committed Liberal, are you a fan of Tony Abbott?
I believe in the Liberal Party as a structure. I believe in choice, and that's basically what the Liberal Party stands for, freedom of choice. I don't always believe in every politician in everything that they stand for within that party, but that's normal in life. You know, even with your friends, you don't believe in everything that they say or stand for, and I think that's just a part of life.
Ainsley, thanks for coming along this afternoon to the Court Wine Bar.
My pleasure.
Well, that brings us to the end of another episode, but it leaves me wondering, do you like what you saw tonight, or are there some other things you'd really love to hear about? Well, you have to let us know. So you can join our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, or visit our website at wtvperth.com.au. Until then, I'm Christy Mollica, and I look forward to seeing you next week for more of Perth's very own Undercurrent.
Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.